students, welcome to my YouTube channel. This is session 3 of lesson Motion in a Plane. In the last two sessions I've been discussing about the basics and types of vectors, followed by how to add the vectors. Further continuation of that addition of vectors itself is triangle of vector addition. So like scalars, vectors cannot be added that much easily since they possess both magnitude as well as direction. So there are certain rules. Among the very first rule is what? Triangle law. So using triangle of vector addition, how we can add two vectors. Then what is the further use of parallelogram law? Then what is the use of polygon law? One by one we will discuss. So triangle of vector addition. So before explaining the statement, let us go for drawing a diagram. See here, triangle law. Triangle consists of three sides. See here, I'll take, let A bar be the vector of one side of a triangle, and I'll take one more vector B bar as one more side of the triangle. But while taking these two sides, there must be some rules. Like these two vectors must be taken in order. What is the meaning of order? For every vector there is a head and tail. So this is tail and this is head. If you draw one vector, assume A bar, and where the head will ends, from there the second vector tail should start. So if you assume here, these two vectors I took in order. You can assume this is an anti-clock direction, or you can take as a clock direction also, as of your convenience. So for this example, I took anti-clock direction. So here these two vectors I taken in order. So hope you understood about what is the meaning of order, where the vector head will end there. From there only the second vector tail should start. Now these two vectors I will take it as two sides of a triangle taken in order. Now by drawing the third side, what you can construct is a triangle. Now third side will represent, that is the closing side will represent addition of these two vectors. So here I write, assume A bar plus B bar are the two vectors here are taken, and I am going to add, assume the answer is C bar. Now the C bar I will draw as the closing side so that I can construct one triangle, but this closing side should be taken in reverse order. How reverse order? See, B bar is the second vector where its head ended here. As per the rule, from here the third vector should start in the order. In the order in the sense, C bar tail should be here, head should be here. But I take it in a reverse order. Reverse means the place of the tail I will get the head, in the place of the head I will get the tail. So that is what reverse. So arrow mark I got taken reverse. Now the third side, which is a closing side taken in reverse order, represents the resultant of the two vectors. Now collectively if you form the statement, if two vectors are taken as two sides of a triangle taken in order, the third side or the closing side taken in the reverse order represents the resultant vector of the two given vectors. So here which is a resultant vector? C bar. That C bar taken in which order? Reverse order. That gives the resultant of the two vectors. That in which order? Reverse order. So if I repeat the statement, see here, if two vectors are taken as two sides of a triangle taken in order, both in magnitude and direction, that word should be added because you are dealing with the vectors. I repeat, if two vectors are represented as two sides of a triangle taken in order, both in magnitude and direction, and the third side of the triangle represents the resultant of these two vectors, both magnitude and direction, that represents the triangle of vector addition. Means two sides, if you take it as two individual vectors taken in order, the third vector will give the addition of the two vectors, that in which order? Reverse order. See here, the order taken in reverse only purpose to indicate that is the actual resultant. But if you take one more vector in resultant, means in the same direction, then you are unable to find the resultant. So that is what triangle of vector addition says. So I repeat, if two vectors are taken as two sides of a triangle taken in order, both in magnitude and direction, the third side of the triangle represents the resultant of these two vectors taken in reverse order, both in magnitude and direction, which represents the triangle of vector addition. Now, what are the limitations of triangle of vector addition? So this is applicable only if there are two vectors are added. Second, you are able to find the direction along which the resultant vector acts, and you are unable to calculate the actual magnitude of the resultant vector. So I can write here a bar plus b bar is equal to c bar, but how much is the c bar value, and what parameters the resultant magnitude will depend upon? Those things you are unable to calculate. Simply you can write the formula. Now the question is how to find the actual magnitude of the resultant vector based on the vectors you are going to add, and based on the angle between them. Angle between them in the sense angle between the two vectors which you are going to add, and how to calculate the direction of the resultant vector. The answer is parallelogram law of vector addition, which is a modified version, or I guess a higher version of the triangle of vector addition. So next one is parallelogram law of vector addition. Now what is the advantage with the parallelogram law? Unlike in triangle law, in parallelogram law you are able to calculate the actual value of the magnitude and along which direction the resultant vector will act. Both you will get specified formulas. So in the current session I will deal with only the magnitude. In the next session I will go with the directionals. So in order to calculate, let us go with the drawing of the diagram, required diagram. You know, parallelogram is a geometry, four-sided geometry. Opposite sides are equal, but none of the angle is 90 degree. So here I will take P bar as one vector and Q bar is another vector. See here we can assume two more sides here, and I took two vectors as two adjacent sides of a parallelogram. Here order is not required. I took two vectors P bar and Q bar, and the two vectors I am representing as two adjacent sides of the parallelogram. Then if you draw the diagonal, see diagonal you can draw like this. Now this is the diagonal. What is the diagonal? Diagonal is the imaginary line which joins opposite vertices in the given parallelogram. Now this diagonal drawn from the same point will represent the resultant of these two vectors. Hope you understood. Unlike triangle, this is a bit different. I repeat the statement. If two vectors are taken as two adjacent sides of a parallelogram drawn from a point, the point is what? O, and the resultant of these two vectors, which is resultant R bar, can be represented using the diagonal drawn from the same point. So I repeat the statement. If two vectors are represented as two adjacent sides of a parallelogram, then the diagonal drawn from the same point also represent the resultant vector of the two vectors. So here one thing is common. The two vectors are drawn from the same point, and the diagonals also drawn from the same point, and the diagonal represent the resultant, and the two adjacent sides represent the individual vectors. Now, how to derive the formula for the magnitude of this resultant? That is the first case. So for that, let us start naming the vertices. Let's say O, A, B, C. Now, see, some changes might be there in the vertices. For convenience, I'll take this as B, as per the material wise, and this is A. Now, to complete the derivation, I will construct one more triangle here by extending the side C until D. Now D is what? A drawn perpendicular from A. Now assume the angle between the two vectors is theta. Now here you can find one more angle theta here for convenience. Let this is the angle pi. The pi represents the direction of the resultant with respect to vector p bar. Now let us go with the derivation of the magnitude formula of the resultant vector. Hope you understood about the statement. So what is the advantage? I will tell at last. Now from the diagram it is very clear that you can find two right angle triangles OAD and one more triangle ACD. Both are the right angle triangles. I know Pythagoras theorem. Pythagoras theorem says hypotenuse square is equal to side square plus side square. Now let us start deriving. From the diagram I have a parallelogram and I have constructed one triangle also. Let us take the triangle first, and triangle OAD. Now from this triangle OAD, which is a hypotenuse OA and which is the sides AD and OD. So it is very clear that you can write it as hypotenuse square is equal to, which is OA square is equal to OD square plus AD square. Is it clear? Because this is one side OD square, this is another side AD square, that is equal to OA square. Now from diagram it is very clear that OD can be written as OC plus CD. OC plus CD whole square. This is OD I have replaced with OC plus CD plus AD square. I will continue as it is. Now LHS you have OA square. I will continue with that same thing. OA square is equal to, this is in the form of A plus B whole square. Please continue, expand this. OC square plus CD square. This is A square plus B square plus 2AB. 2 into OC into CD. Plus what you have here is AD square. So hope you understood this. Now for convenience I will take one more triangle here, triangle ACD. Assume this is equation number 1 here. Now here again using Pythagoras theorem you can take it as AC square, which is the hypotenuse square, that is equal to CD square plus AD square. Hope you understood now. Now in this take common as CD square. So what is CD square? CD square is equal to AC square minus AD square. In sense this term I took to the LHS. Now let it be as equation number 2. Again from the same triangle use the trigonometric ratio cos theta. What cos theta says? Base by hypotenuse. What is the base in this? CD. What is the hypotenuse is? AC. Now from this, what is CD is equal to? AC cos theta. That was equation number 3. Now start substituting equation 2 and equation 3 into equation 1. So here OA square, that is equal to OC square plus what is CD square you have? AC square minus AD square plus, see the place of CD square replaced with AC square plus AD square from equation number 2, and we have 2 OC into CD plus ED square. Now timing of substitute only equation 2 into equation 1. Here I write as equation 2 is substituted into equation 1. Now what the like terms will be cancelled? AD square plus AD square. Plus and minus. Now substitute equation 3 into equation 1. OA square, let it be as it is. OC square I will take as it is. And AC square also as it is I will take. Plus 2 into OC I will take as it is. But what is CD? Can be taken as AC cos theta. So CD is replaced as AC cos theta. Now you just replace the corresponding terms with the magnitudes. Now OA square. See, OA is the length of which vector? Resultant vector. So the length will give the magnitude here. So since you are taking OA, not OA bar, because in the last session I told, assume OA bar is R bar. OA can be taken as modulus of OA bar, that is equal to OA, that is equal to R. So here OA square I will take it as R square. Similarly, OC bar represents P bar, then OC represents P. So here OC square, hence it becomes P square. Similarly, AC, in a parallelogram opposite sides are equal. So OB represents Q bar, then AC or CA also represents Q bar. Here AC square, nothing but it's a magnitude square of Q bar, so we can take it as Q square. Then plus 2 into, again OC is P, AC is Q into cos theta as it is. Now from this what is R? R is equal to under root of P square plus Q square plus 2PQ cos theta. Now this formula gives the value of, or you can say magnitude of the resultant vector of the P bar and Q bar in terms of P and Q and in terms of angle between them. That angle is mentioned here. So this is a sophisticated thing which you will get from the parallelogram law when you compare with the triangle. Now what is the further step you will get is the direction, that I will discuss later. Now hope you understood with the parallelogram law when you compare with the triangle law. In triangle law you never get like these formulas where actual magnitude are able to calculate and along which direction the vector, which is the resultant vector, is acting. So that is what advantage of the parallelogram law over the triangle. So hope you have understood about the triangle of vector addition and parallelogram law of vector addition. And for repetition purpose, I will repeat the statements once again. Here in triangle law, two vectors are taken as two sides of a triangle in order, both in magnitude and direction, and the third side represents the resultant of those two vectors taken in reverse order. The terms must be mentioned very clearly, otherwise statement will not be given any marks. Make sure the two vectors are taken in order and the resultant is supposed to be in the reverse order. Coming to the parallelogram of vector addition, here two vectors are taken as two adjacent sides of a parallelogram drawn from a same point, both in magnitude and direction, and the resultant of these two vectors can be represented by a diagonal drawn from the same point, both in magnitude and direction. So that word both magnitude and direction is a common term you're supposed to place everywhere. And here people may get confused. What are the adjacent sides? Sides are having common point of contact. For example, in this OB and OC are the adjacent sides, whereas OC and AC are the adjacent. Whereas OB and AC are not adjacent because they don't have a common point of contact. They can be called as opposite sides. So this is a brief thing about your triangle of vector addition and parallelogram of vector addition. Hope you understood with the concepts. So initially I am going with the limited concepts only. If time permits, I will go with the lengthy sessions. So if any doubts is there, please update me through my individual WhatsApp account. And thank you for the session.